Hi, Tom. How are you? I am the first time I get through to you, but I didn't. Haven't always been able to hold long enough.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, it's actually a favor I would like you to do. I'd like you to discuss a little bit about what is the difference between a pre-70s or 80s Democrat and what they are now, which is neoliberals. And, kind of give the people an idea of they're actually corporate friendly, which is why mainstream media loves them, Biden and Warren now. And the difference between them and Bernie Sanders. And the DLC.
Yeah, well,
there's so many people that think the straight Dem ticket is the way to go, and I used to be one. I voted twice for Obama. And at a late age, I had to go to college, and I learned how to do some critical thinking, and I did my own research, and I'm like, oh, my God. No wonder for the last 40 years we have lost all our power, because the DLC got the same corporate.
Right, and Bill Clinton played a role in this. Robin, you open a large area for conversation, so let me just riff on this, and thank you very much for your call, and thanks for finally getting through and waiting online. This language basically comes out of Europe. In Europe, well, for example, the Liberal Party in Australia being, kind of having liberal sentiments, the Liberal Party in Australia is actually what we would call the libertarians. The classic liberalism, and this gets confusing, but classic liberalism was the idea that government should not be helping people out, that it's not the proper role of government to be making sure that people have enough food or enough clothing or enough health care or anything like that. Classic liberalism says that those are things that should be done by the marketplace, by the so-called invisible hand. And the main proponents of that today in this country are the objectivists, the followers of Ayn Rand, and the libertarians. The Libertarian Party was started in the 1940s by a lobbying group, a real estate industry lobbying group, in order to promote their interests, in order to be to put a patina of respectability and thoughtfulness on these ideas. So. And they even refer to themselves as liberals frequently, which just totally confuses people. You get these objectivists saying, we are the true liberals. Well, yeah, somebody from Great Britain would say yes, or somebody from Germany or Australia would say yes, but here in the United States, liberals, the word liberal has meant not that, not no government. It has meant big government, basically. It's meant that government actually does stuff like FDR did and like LBJ did. Those kinds of things. So somewhere along the 60s and 70s, really in the 70s, and I would say largely as a result of the Powell Memo and the institutions that it created, the Heritage Foundation, the Cato Institute, all these other groups, the Federalist Society and whatnot, liberalism got reinvented. And that is to say the classical libertarian version of liberalism. And it got reinvented as a new form of liberalism, neo being the Latin, or maybe it's Greek, I think it's Latin for new. And so the neoliberal idea was, okay, fine, we'll let government do more than just run the police, and we'll let government do more than just run the fire department. Government can play a small role in people's lives. There should be a small social safety net, but it should be a very, very limited role. And these people call themselves neoliberals, and this is, as you point out, the Democratic Leadership Council, which came up. Al Fromm and Bill Clinton basically created this thing in 1991, and Bill Clinton wrote it to victory in 92 and governed as a neoliberal. Declaring the era of big government is over, and we have ended welfare as we know it, slashing Lyndon Johnson's programs, ending some of Franklin Roosevelt's programs. And Barack Obama, by and large, continued that process. The Republicans are even more aggressive about that. They wouldn't even refer to themselves as neoliberals. The neoliberals tend to be an infestation inside the Democratic Party. And what's happening right now, I think, is that the Democratic Party is returning to its liberal roots in, which is why we use the word progressive now instead. It's progressive roots in Franklin Roosevelt and Lyndon Johnson. We took a huge, the Democratic Party took a huge turn away from progressivism, from all the extraordinary things that were done by these two presidents. Took a huge turn away from them and towards neoliberalism. And it's moving back aggressively, and we're seeing that debate played out in the Democratic primaries right now. You know, Joe Biden is the last big proponent, I think, of neoliberalism. Although I would suggest that Amy Klobuchar and Pete Buttigieg are promoting, to a certain extent, neoliberal agendas. And I think Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are the ones who are promoting a progressive agenda. But people don't know where these words came from, and so they get confused around this stuff. And I absolutely understand that. And, you know, we can't just try to educate people every time the words come up.